All right, I want to welcome you to the next training. Today in this video, we're going to be talking about sending a broadcast promotion to your list. Profit from your list even more with broadcast messages that go out when you want them to or when you have something to promote. So let's get started. Sending a broadcast message. Broadcast message is nothing basically more than a scheduled sending where you're going to schedule when the message goes out. Where your follow-up messages, you're going to have them all queued up, ready to go one after another in the sequence that you are setting them up. A broadcast message is going to be more scheduled. Broadcast messages that you set up operate independently of any other autoresponder email or follow-up series message that you may already be sending or have scheduled to send. So if you have follow-up messages already set up or other broadcast messages set up, you can set up another broadcast message and it will not interfere with anything that is already queued up, ready to go. So there's no fear of that. Follow-up messages are sent in sequence, one after another. Broadcast messages are sent once at a specific date and time, and then you would write another one and you would queue that one up. You could, let's say you were getting ready to go on vacation and you had a big product launch coming up, and over during that time that you're going to be gone, you could get that email all queued up, set up, ready to go out and set the time and the date when you want that email to go out, so it goes out on time and you don't have to worry about it. You can enjoy your vacation. So you basically can schedule when you want it to go out and the time that you want it to go out. Create a time, date specific email broadcast and schedule its sending. Send repeat email broadcasts to reinforce your message. You've probably seen this done a lot during product launches where somebody promotes a product and for a week straight you're getting emails about a product that's being launched. This is reinforcing the message. They're going to be writing specific broadcasts. A lot of times you will, we call them like an email blast, where during getting ready for a webinar, you might schedule a series of emails to go out in your broadcast messages that is talking about the webinar over a 3-day period, which seems to be very effective. Most people will test this to find out exactly what works with their list, and you're going to have to do the same thing to find out what's working with your niche market, your list, to find out what they're accepting. But you'll see a lot of these email blasts go out and they're basically reinforcing the message. A broadcast message use. You can use them for sending out newsletters. So let's say you have a weekly newsletter, maybe a monthly newsletter that you can schedule ready to go out. You could also schedule the newsletters in your follow-up to go out monthly as well. But maybe you have a special edition that you want to send out in between your scheduled ones. So you could use a broadcast message for that. Your own product offers. If you have a product that you just created and you want to start getting it out to your list, you would use a broadcast message. An affiliate promotion, where an affiliate contacts you to promote a product for them. You see this done all the time in your own inboxes, where you see basically somebody recommending somebody else's product. Content messages, where you just want to strictly send out content, maybe something that you discovered that day or whatever, how to use, and you want to share it with your list. All sorts of great uses there. A direct to new blog post. So maybe you wrote a blog post and you'd like to get some traffic to that blog post, get some eyes reading that. You can send out to your list, and this is the importance of list building here, is to get this list so that you've got that traffic, that you've got control of the traffic. So when you need traffic, you've got it. But you could direct your list, send them an email saying, hey, I just wrote a blog post, let them know what's going on in it, the benefits of reading the blog post, and all, to get them to go read. So you're not going to want to tell them the whole blog post that you wrote, but maybe some details about it to get their curiosity up enough to go to the blog, maybe to get them to interact with comments on it. For a seasonal message, during the holidays, you might want to use it to be sending out a seasonal message. Any other date and time specific mailings that you could think of, or just specifically for relationship building. The broadcast message has so many different uses that is capable of. You're going to be able to write your blog or your broadcast in either text or HTML. You're going to be given this choice The choice of using text or HTML when sending your email ultimately comes down to your individual preference for style and what you perceive your readers as appreciating more after extensive testing. This is going to be something that you're going to want to test to find out, if which ones are being accepted more, if to make sure that they're getting opened up, in the first place. You're going to have to test. You're going to have to play around with this. And both autoresponders that we're talking about, Aweber and GetResponse, have very good ways to test. They've got very good tutorials on how to use the HTML and stuff that so we're not going to get into that so much here today, but just know that you do have the choice of which one you're going to want to use. Each has its advantages and disadvantages. If you're just one that wants to keep things simple and speak in a strictly conversational tone to your list members, then I would probably just compose using the plain text version. Would probably be the best one for you. Plain text messages may be a little bit more conversational, but doesn't afford much room for the potential powerful effect, of like things like great graphics, your videos, to add them right in there for branding purposes, things like that. So this is something that you're going to have to play around with and see which one fits your style of marketing best. Now, if you want a more visually compelling email that you can brand to complement your websites, as far as like company logos, maybe product pictures, your photos, maybe banners in there, insert links that use clickable words, like you've seen them in your emails before, where like right here it says go here now, instead of that's a link that we can click on, but it's not like the cryptid URL addresses that you see a lot of times, like this big long link right here. You could shorten this down with using the HTML, so it says go to here. Basically, it's disguising this link into this, where it makes it a little more pleasing to look at, a little more professional looking. If you want something like this, you're going to have to use the HTML. You're not going to get that from the text version. So those are just some different things that you can be thinking about as you're starting up your broadcast messages. Now, Aweber broadcast message, we'll start with that one first. When you log into your account, you're going to see basically your dashboard or your tabs up top here. You're going to see messages. When you go in here, this will be in blue like the rest. You'll see messages. When you click on that, it's going to open up follow-up, broadcast, or blog broadcast. We're going to be concerned about the broadcast messages. We've already talked about writing follow-up messages, but we're going to be concerned about broadcast. Once you click on that, it opens up a new window that is going to have this green button that says create a new broadcast message. You're going to click on that, and it's going to open up ready for us to write our email. Now, when the first one you get there, you're going to see your subject line. This is where you're going to enter your subject line. You can click to personalize it. When you click on this, it's going to, a lot of times you see marketers that have made a mistake and it'll come through as first name fix, something like that. That is where you're going to find those personalization tabs. If you click on that, it's going to open them up, and most of the time you're going to want first name fix. You're going to be able to do like cities, just first name. But first name fix, basically, if somebody was to write their name in all capital letters, or maybe the first one they had cap locks on and mistakenly they typed their name so that it came across as their first letter being a small case letter, and then the rest, everything else was uppercase for caps, because they had their caps on. That first name fix will take that and it'll correct that, so it'll be a little bit more pleasing and a little bit more professional looking. And that's probably the one that you're going to use the most. But then you're going to notice that first of all, you're going to have the opportunity to create an HTML message. If you're going to use this, I suggest that you use the plain text message as well. You send one of each out. So you're going to basically take this message, put it in the plain text as well, to make sure that it's getting wrapped or getting seen. Now, it's also got personalization here, where like you can say hello or dear or whatever, or hey, and then you'd hit this personalization and you'd put in something like the first name fix, and that'll enter their name, their first name in there. You do have some choices of different templates that you can play around with and to use for your email template, which you do not have in the plain text. So that's something that you can just kind of play around with. But this gives you a lot of different bells and whistles, different fonts that you can choose, highlighting, making those clickable links, word links instead of the big long URLs that we were showing here earlier. It allows you to put videos and your pictures, all sorts of good things in here. This is probably one that I like. You're going to have your source down here. It's basically just like creating a website. Not quite exactly, but pretty close to like you were creating a website, like a squeeze page or something like that. So if you're familiar with that, you're probably going to understand using the HTML. But if not, use the plain text, which is going to be the simplest. That'll be down below. And one of the things that you'll notice, it says wrap long lines, and it has a recommended width. So when you're typing in here, if you start getting out past this into the blue line, they're saying here's your recommended width. If you're way out here, if you just click on basically wrap long lines, it'll wrap that and it'll shorten up the links for you, so that it'll basically cut them off here and shorten those links up. Many email programs will impose a line length limit and will cut your lines off if you don't take this measure. If your lines go over this length, just click on the wrap long lines to shorten them. It's simple as that. All right, once you get your email written, you've got some different sending options. You've got when to send it. You can either send it now. If you want it to go out right now, you just keep that click. That'll be automatically clicked. If you want to send it later, you're going to click on the send later, which is going to open up another little box, and I'll show you that in a second. You can choose to send to different segments, and I'll show you that. You can also include or exclude other lists as well, because usually inside your Aweber you're going to have several different lists. You're going to have buyers lists, freebie lists, different lists for different products, all to identify exactly who's on your list. You can choose to include or exclude any of those lists at this time. If you can choose to do include, and then you can hit everybody all at once if you would like. You can track your click. Opens up, you can send out your email into social media sharing, Facebook and Twitter, quick stats notification, and then you're going to save your broadcast. You can preview it here to see what it's going to look like if you wish to do that, or you can save your message. I usually skip this object because I go to actually do the testing feature, which sends it to my email so I can get a clear picture of what's going to happen. Once you save your message, it's going to be basically taken. Let's go back here just a second. This is before we're saving it here actually. These are just opening up those tabs that I was showing you. Here's if you click send later like we're showing here, it opens this box up right here where it is going to allow you to click in the date, put in the date. It'll open up another box where the little calendar will come down here for you to click on the date. Put the time, make sure you click AM or PM, whichever one you want to set in. A lot of times I've made a mistake where I've set it forgot about that, and I wanted to go out in the PM, and I had it for AM, and it was like then past that time, so it was the next morning when it went out. To send to different segments, you can open up, you can add, there's different places inside Aweber that you can create different segments to send out, but these are the default ones here. You can basically add in, you can send it out to the ones added in the past year, added in the past 30 days, added in the 7 days, added since yesterday, added today. Now, why would that be important? Let's say you sent an email out a week ago and you wanted to get it out again, but you really didn't want to send it to the same people, so you might be sending, you would send it to maybe those only added in the past 7 days for them to get a message. You wanted to get it out to all of the newer people, so you could choose something like that. Over here we've got where we're talking about include or exclude other lists. It opens up, if you click on this, it'll open up this box, and inside you can either include, if you click on this, it's going to click all of the lists that you have available. Over here you can exclude. You click this and you can choose which ones to exclude. So let's say, if you wanted to exclude this list, then it would exclude that one as well. But once we get our email saved, it's going to send you to this page right here where you can create a new broadcast message if you wish to set up another one, but it's also got the one that you just saved. It's going to have your subject line here. It's going to tell you the date that you chose to send it and the time. Make sure that you're checking it. It's ready to go when you want it to. It's going to tell you who you got it. This one's set up for all subscribers. It's written in HTML. You can have it in HTML and text as well. And it's going to basically tell you that click tracking is on. And it's going to give you a spam count. Now, if this says a 1.7, which is going to be pretty generic number that you're going to get when you do it in HTML. But if this number here gets close to a 5, or especially above a 5, you're going to want to basically click on this number right here. And it's going to open up a page that is going to basically tell you what is being considered as spam in there, and it'll allow you to change it to try to get that score down. You want to have it below a 5. I don't even like getting close to the 5. I like to be down in the 2 or below, but under, anything under 5 is considered good to go. So that's just my preference. I like to keep it under a 2 or 3, somewhere in that area. But now it also gives you a thing if you want to copy this. Say you want to send this exact same email out, you can click copy and set it to go out at a different time and date whenever. So if you're going to send this exact same email out again. But here's the feature that I like. Instead of looking at it earlier, I click the test here, and it'll open up a box where it'll allow you to put your name and your email in that you want to send a test to. And then you will send that test, and then you will go to that email account, and you'll be able to open up the email to see exactly what it looks like. You can look for spelling, grammar errors, and stuff like that. You're also, have a spell check on as you're writing and stuff that will help you out as well. But you can kind of look to see how it's formatted, if it looks good in the email, so you can see what everybody else is going to be seeing. If everything looks good, you're going to come over here, and you're basically going to click on the queue. This is going to bring up a box that's going to say your email is going to be going out at this date and time. Is this what you want? And you click yes. If it's not, you just basically cancel and you go fix whatever the problem is. Come back and queue it. Now, for any reason, if you just decide, if you forgot to queue it up and it's just sitting in here, it's got the little red X over here that you can use just to delete the email out of there and, create a new one if that's what you wish. So that's basically Aweber setting out a broadcast. It's really very simple. Aweber has great tutorials that'll teach you if you have any other questions on it. But it's very, very simple and self-explanatory as you're going through it. The next one I want to talk about, a get response broadcast message. It's a little bit different. It operates pretty much on the same kind of theory and basis, but it's just a little bit different. Some of the words they use are a little bit different. Once you get logged in, you're going to go to your dashboard. It's just kind of like the other one. The tabs are up at top, but you go into your dashboard, and you can create, click on create messages. You can go to messages here also, but this is your dashboard right here. Once it's opened up, here's what it is. You can click on create messages. Once you click on create messages, it takes you here where you notice it's a little bit different. We can send out the follow-up, but they call their broadcast a newsletter. So we're going to create a newsletter in this case. And this is going to be the broadcast. You click on that, sends us to the next page where it allows us to either write it in HTML or the text, plain text like we were talking about. You have both of these choices once again. Once we get in there creating our newsletter, we got our from line. It's going to tell you who it's from. You can add different from fields, and you can choose those at this time where you'd like it to come from. You've got your subject line. You can personalize it. Again, you can write it. We've got our wrap our long text lines and stuff. So if we start going outside of the line, the recommended area, we can do that, and it'll basically wrap it again. We can start out with hello, and personalize it with their first name or, whatever you choose there. So basically the same thing. Once it's done, we have the option to test it. We can add attachments. I don't recommend adding attachments to send out to your email. A lot of people don't trust them, and they're not going to open it if they see it with an attachment. It's going to go to spam or your junk folder with attachments. So I don't recommend that, but the option is there. You can test your email. It's basically going to allow you to send it to your email to see what it looks like there as well. You're going to have, you know, other options down here. Add subscriber reminders, track click-throughs on your links, add Google Analytics to your tracking if you would like, add email to speed. And you notice the upgrade now. Some of these features are going to be a little bit more expensive. You're going to have to upgrade your account to have the ability to use some of the features that come along with this. And the same thing with Aweber's got other features that you can get, but they do have upgrade packages. You're going to basically, once you're tested your message, you can check your spam score. You know, basically you can save it as a draft for later if you want, but these two are going to be what you're going to really be curious with. Testing it to make sure it looks good, testing the spam score, make sure it's under a 5, ready to go. You're going to click next step. You're going to be able to choose the recipients that you want it to send out to. You know, you can select all contacts list, you know, or you can, you know, to be able to go through, it'll tell you how many recipients. You know, I want to select contacts manually after this step. If for any reason you need to go back, you got previous step, but once you're satisfied with who you're ready to send it to, you click next step. You can set the delivery time. And you notice it's just set up just a little bit different than Aweber, but it's got pretty much the same features. So basically, you come down here, you can either choose send this newsletter immediately or send a delivery date and time. You would basically click on the little calendar, choose the date that you would like to set it out and the time. You got your time zone that you want to choose. Here's, you know, the date on your calendars. So basically you're choosing the date and time, ready to send it out. So you can send that out at the time and date that you choose. All right, you also have the option to turn on basically Twitter integration and Facebook integration. And you'll notice that you'll have to set up your accounts first, add the Twitter account here, add the Facebook. It's going to be asking you for your account names and passwords to both of these. So that's something for you to consider as well. But it'll help you integrate both of these into your email system. You know, basically once you're all done with that, you got your date and time and everything, you're basically going to publish your email to be able to send that email out to your list. And that's basically all there is to it, to sending out a broadcast message through GetResponse. All right, I want to thank you for joining me today for this training on sending broadcast messages. Choosing to send broadcast messages give you the power and the control as to when, what, and who you want to communicate with on your list. It's time for action now. Choose the autoresponder of your choice. We've recommended Aweber and GetResponse. We feel these are two very good services to use. We use them both ourselves. But choose the one of your choice that will grow with you, and that's something very important, is that your autoresponder service grows with you. It does what you want it to do to help you and your business out. But choose the one that'll grow with you and your business, and get that list set up so that you can start building relationships and delivering that great value to your list. I want to thank you for watching.